What is going on, you guys? That's right. Spring breaking, NXT spring breaking. We on the heads and the rise of it. And man, when I tell you tonight's show was absolutely amazing. We crowned the new champion. There's champions that have retained. Looks like I'm riding solo dolo tonight, but of course, let's go ahead and get into NXT spring breaking here in the Shakers Den.
Spring break just got hotter.
That is right, you guys. Welcome to the Shakers Den. Of course, Rihanna Santana here in the building for your Tuesday night NXT Spring Break in Uncut. There was a lot of things that happened tonight on NXT Spring Breaking that I am truly, truly excited to get into. We're crowning the champion. We have some champions that retain. We have a lot of people from the main roster coming up. We also found out who is going to be in Lola Vice's corner when she takes on Natalia next week. And we do also have some other matches that happen tonight, and also that will be happening next week. But before we kind of, thank you, Joseph. Before we kind of dive into NXT Spring Breaking, I do want to send my condolences to Trey D from We Love Wrestling. Um, it was brought to my attention that he ended up passing away. I didn't know him too well, but he and we've had conversations through social media, but I never got the chance to actually meet him. So, but it's always sad to hear about someone from your wrestling community, Black wrestling community, um, and their unexpected deaths. So, definitely sending a lot of condolences to him, his friends, his family, and everything like that. So I definitely wanted to shine a light on that before we get into NXT Spring Break, because that's something that was just kind of shared all on social media. So definitely shout out to um, definitely a big shout out and sending a lots of love to Trey D's family and everything like that. He was a big advocate for women's wrestling. I would say that definitely a lot within a lot of his interviews, him going to shows and things like that. So definitely wanted to send my condolences to him and everything like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into NXT Spring Breaking. So we started off the night show with the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez defending her title against Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. Um, Great opening for NXT Spring Breaking, starting out with the women. And it seems as if like Tatum was definitely, I would say, MVP of this. That 450 splash that she did was absolutely amazing. And I feel like with Tatum, she's I'm really happy that a lot of people are starting to pay attention to her, because I felt like, and I've said this before on our previous shows here on the Shakers In, that I thought that Tatum was going to get lost um, uh, on the roster, and that's something I did not want for her. I'm glad she's kind of moving over into this character. Even people who say negative things about it, I think Tatum is a phenomenal wrestler. But when you have someone like Roxanne Perez, inside the ring, going into this, heel turn and being the heel that she is, and finding her way to be able to retain her title, that's exactly what she did. And Roxanne defeated both Laura and Tatum Paxley to retain her championship. Now, what happens next for you know what happens next for Roxanne Perez? It's kind of up in the air. Anything is possible. The WWE draft is coming up, and Roxanne did say that she would be in that draft, and so maybe Roxanne gets drafted up to the main roster. Maybe, I mean, it can happen. Indy Hartwell became NXT Women's Champion, and she ended up getting drafted, so she had to vacate the title not only because of that, but she was injured as well. So my only thing is, I don't know if Roxanne is going to be in the draft and now what's going to happen if she does get drafted, or maybe they may want to keep her down in NXT until she kind of, finish up what she's doing here and then come up to the main roster. Tatum only had 2 moves. I was surprised about that pop though. Yeah, I mean Tatum's really good in the ring. Honestly, she pulls out a lot of stuff, and a lot of it that I saw was like in her beginning stages, when she was with Ivy Nile, and then seeing her go over to the dark side, and seeing her on Level Up, her moveset has definitely improved. So I don't really know. Like I said, what will happen for Roxanne? Maybe she could be a free agent. Maybe they will make her one. She kind of just floats around wherever she feel like she wants to go while carrying a championship while still defending down on NXT. Same thing how it was for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker signed on Friday Night SmackDown, and he was NXT Tag Team Champion with Baron Corbin, and then he was still doing his stuff on main roster, but also still defending his title or doing stuff down there on NXT. Most of the people that were fired were free agents last year. That is true. Von Wagner found out that he's not here anymore. Found out that Jinder was released, Sangha and Veer was released, Xia Li was released. Cameron Grimes today found out that he was released by WWE, which I feel like with a lot of them is shocking, of course, but then again, it's like they were very underutilized. They were not being utilized well. Um, and I feel like Cameron Grimes could have had a really, really successful career on the main roster, but it's just like I don't know if they kind of knew where to place him. And I mean, he came in, getting his victories and stuff like that. And after that, it's kind of like he was just utilized for squash matches or on the live shows and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I'm sure that with the talent like Cameron Grimes, he's gonna go. He can go, places. Period. You know what I'm saying? He really can. He's done it before. With Xia Li, I feel the same thing for her. She's phenomenal inside the ring, but I don't feel like main roster gave her the proper direction, or creative didn't give her the proper direction to go into, because she came out. Her entrance was amazing. She had the whole Mortal Kombat thing going on and being the protector, and then she turned around and said she wasn't gonna protect anyone. They had her come out and attack somebody, and then it went nowhere. Yes, she did get an opportunity for a championship, but then that was that. So it's kind of like she was in and out. With Veer, Sangha, and Jinder. Jinder had that really, really big thing earlier this year because of the whole Tony Khan thing and Hook situation, and that was that. And then Sangha and Veer, you just really don't know, what to do with them too. But besides utilizing for representation when they go over to Saudi, so it's like still to this day, WWE's creative is not great. It's not up to where it could be with people, but also if people who actually want to become something, then you have to let them go and let them figure out exactly what they want to do. And so I don't know, but shout out to Roxanne for retaining her championship. And then of course throughout the night we've had a plethora of NXT alumni um come down and give their thoughts on who is going to win between Trick and Ilya. And we saw a lot of people. First of all, I am hoping and praying that they will put that Creed Brothers sweatshirt on WWE Shop, because y'all wearing it a lot. You guys started wearing it and then y'all wearing it a little bit more. I'm going to need to see that on WWE Shop soon, somehow, some way. I'm telling you, like, yes, Stephanie, I need that shirt. Period. I do, because it's, first of all, it's really, really cute, and I know it's gonna be even cuter when they align themselves with Chad Gable real soon. And then we move over to the 6-man tag match, the family versus the No Quarter Catch crew. And I personally thought that No Quarter Catch crew was going to get this victory, but unfortunately they did not. The family is standing tall, and Tony actually ended up pinning the NXT Heritage Cup champion, Charlie Dempsey. So I don't know. Maybe because he pinned, the title holder, he is going to probably get an opportunity to face Charlie Dempsey for that Heritage Cup. I need Brutus. Dwayne, please. You are hilarious. But yeah, so this is only happening because Dodie was covering their butts for the allegations from Ronda. Interesting, Tony pinned the NXT Heritage Cup holder. Yeah, and I mean, a way to remove Drew Gulak from No Quarter Catch crew is to have him be, you know, not dismantled, but you know, you know what the mafia people do when they want to get rid of people. Also, before which led up to the match between Fallon Henley and Jada Parker, Fallon and Thea and Kalani were all, backstage. They were talking, they were chatting, and Thea was talking about JC and how mistreatment and everything like that. And Jada was not too happy with the entire conversation. She called Fallon a popular loner, which I can understand because Fallon, since she's kind of been away from, um, you know, Brooks and Jensen, she's kind of been around a lot of other different other girls who need emotional support or need emotional help when things are not going their way. They can always find themselves defending or leaning on to Fallon to be the one to kind of come out and stand up for them or be on their side. Do I feel like Fallon is turning heel? I think that she's going to get fed up with all of the people saying all these negative things about her, and then she's going to end up taking it out on the people that she may feel like is only utilizing her or using her for their own benefit of saying that, oh, well, we have Fallon on our side. Fallon's going to be the one to step up to the plate and help us get to where we need to get to and everything like that. So, I mean, if they wanted to run their route, I don't know. I don't really like the emo cowgirl. Uh, I don't know if I'm hoping that if Fallon does decide she wants to turn heel, that she doesn't become an emo cowgirl. I don't really know what a heel Fallon would be like because Fallon is amazing inside the ring. We definitely saw that with her match with Jada Parker tonight, and but Jada Parker is continuing on to build up these wins and build up these victories and stuff like that. And Jada, she has to find a way to keep people's attention because if she's not seen on TV, I don't want to say that she's forgettable, but it's like I don't know if I've seen people, if Jada goes missing on TV, I don't know if people be like, oh, damn, where's Jada Parker? I have not seen Jada Parker, kind of situation. And plus, I mean, she's still learning, inside of the ring as well. She's definitely, I would say, is a favorite for that NXT Women's North American Championship. I don't know if they're going to do a tournament for it. They really haven't truly went into a lot of details about it. They just said that they're going to be crowning one. So I'm very sure that there will be a tournament for this, and they're probably going to get some of the girls who are, starting up in NXT, give them a little um, TV time to show off what they can against the more relevant girls that actually would have a chance to win this championship, to get them some shine there. Um, but yeah, so Jada did end up getting the victory, even though she lost her hair. She might need to learn from Bianca Belair on how to keep her pony intact at all freaking times. Rumor has it allegedly Julia will debut at their SummerSlam July 7th in Toronto Heatwave. Wonder if she will compete for that title. Um, it's I don't want to say that it's hard to say, but I feel like if the rumor is for Julia to, of course, be in NXT and get her start there before they decide they want to, of course, give her the WWE training, and have her tone down her move sets that she normally does over in Stardom, which I really don't want. I hate when they have them turn it down, like tone it down. But not every girl that it's came up in WWE has been to Stardom and maybe is able to handle, the moves or the hits or the power that comes from those licks that those Stardom girls give them. unless you get someone in there like Dakota Kai who's familiar with it, or Blair Davenport, Piper Niven, those kind of girls who are used to or have been in the field with the girls from Stardom, and also been there too. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Julia compete for that championship. I think it would be a great start for her. But I also don't want her to. I also don't want her to compete for this championship and she does not win. You know, I wouldn't want that to happen. At least, like if she's in this, like she would have to win. She would have to. There's no way around it. I would not want Julia or allow this to be like her first time being a part of a tournament and she loses. You see? Because I'm like, because you bring over a talent like Julia and then she loses, then it's like, oh, Julia's buried. You know how people on Twitter be, they as soon as somebody that's new that come over and they take a loss, it's, oh, they're buried. Which I guess a lot of people still to this day don't understand the proper definition of buried. And then we also got a nice promo from JC Jane, who stated that she was never Thea's friend. She never got a thank you. She never got anything. And I told y'all that JC Jane was a fake ass bitch. And she was never Thea's friend. She only did what she did because she felt like it would be beneficial to her until she decides she want to turn on her. And I told y'all not to trust JC Jane, but nobody want to listen to me. I told y'all you can't trust her. She turned on her own friend, who was actually her partner, tag partner, and everything in a whole faction. And she found her, building her own new clique. And so next week we'll have Thea versus JC Jane finally. And I am hoping that Thea beats the hell out of JC Jane. I'm not gonna lie at all. Who should get called up from NXT in the WWE draft? I think that I know for sure Dragunov has to be called up. It's a must. Dragunov should be called up. Um, even though Baron Corbin is of course down on NXT, I think that he should go back up to the main roster. Let me see. Roxanne should have definitely been called up to the main roster, been drafted a long time ago. And Blair Davenport, I feel like she could, but I don't know how long or if they're going to be running this tag team that her and Stevie Turner supposed to be having, like they kind of been doing on their house shows for NXT. So I feel like that part, because I feel like with Blair Davenport, and we'll talk about Blair Davenport when we get to her match with Ruka, but I feel like with Blair Davenport is a great talent. She really, really is. But I definitely do feel that way. Mello is definitely going to the main roster. Like, there's no way around it. Like, there's nothing else for Carmelo Hayes to do down in NXT. Nothing. He's done everything that he needs to do. So he's definitely going to be drafted. Now, exactly where to? I think Mello might be drafted to Raw per se. I feel like Mello might be drafted to Raw. But either way, I'm extremely excited for the draft this week. I really am. Like the WWE draft is like probably one of my favorite parts of the year. Because you just never know exactly who's going to get called up. You don't know who's going to be a free agent. You don't know who the hell could be coming back or anything, to be drafted. So I'm really excited. But the only downside about, the WWE draft is that eventually it gets to that point where everybody from all brands just start to pop up. The main thing is who's going to be going down to NXT, because the Final Testament has already made their transition kind of down there. So now it's like who from the main roster is going to be going down to NXT? I would love for Mello to be on a blue brand, but I can't have all my men's and I can't have all my men's all over fighting each other. I have enough already. Okay, I need some type of separation somehow, some way, in any capacity. But yeah, so I'm excited for the draft, and I'm ready to see who actually gets called up and who's going to be going down to NXT. Because if they're going to try to treat this like all three brands, then we need to see who's going to go down, who's going to be going down to NXT. Honestly, so I don't know. Also, we got to see JD Madonna come down here, who has had his own dealings with Dragunov in the past, of course, within NXT UK. And Kelly asked him, his thoughts on the match between Trick and Dragunov, who he thinks going to win. He's going with Dragunov. Now, New Cash Republic, on the other hand, but more so Tyler Bate, in a sense, is going with Trick. And my man Pete is just like, girl, I don't give a damn who's going to win. It doesn't matter to me, you know. So I don't know, but it was nice to see some of the, those who were from the main roster, who are alumni in NXT, who have had their own encounterments with either being champions on the NXT brand, whether it's NXT America or, NXT UK, having their own dealings with either one of these, opponents here for that championship, and so on and so forth. There's that. So before we even get to the actual contract signing, there was a nice video package from both not Carmel, but Carmel must be talking about somebody named Santana. Okay, but we got a video package from Lola and Natalya that kind of just basically talked about what they're going to be trying to do to each other in this first ever women's NXT Underground match per se. And we ended up getting to where Natalya, of course, she comes out, she signs her contract, and Carmen Petrovic is right next to her. And everybody's trying to make speculations of who is going to be on the side of Lola Vice. Now, if you guys were here last week for NXT Uncut, I told y'all that Shayna Baszler is going to be in the corner of Lola Vice. It just makes sense. There's nobody, to me, there's nobody else that I think of when it comes to NXT Underground other than Shayna Baszler, especially within this fighting style. There's absolutely nobody else, like nobody else. So Shayna Baszler being the one to be in the corner of Lola Vice. These two have very similarities, being MMA fighters turned wrestlers now, and it just makes a lot of sense, honestly. This entire segment here was amazing. Carmen giving that kick to Shayna Baszler, and then Natalya and Lola Vice getting into it as well. I thought it was great. So I'm really, really excited for their match next week. Natty's not playing with. She said she was made in the dungeon, honey. She meant what she said. Okay, so I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a great showdown. I mean, Natty and Shayna used to be former tag team partners, so nobody in this situation knows Natalya more and better than the Queen of Spades herself, Shayna Baszler. It just makes sense. And then we had finally got to Sol Ruca and Blair Davenport. And this is something that has been spewing because of the fact of that Blair Davenport was the reason why Sol Ruca was out for a very, very long time. And it seems as if like everyone that Blair Davenport took out during that time, she was being like this anonymous person, has came back and gotten their revenge on her. Whether it's beating her in a match or just beating her ass, period. And I think this is great for Sol Ruca to get that victory. But this is why I want Blair Davenport to be moved up to the main roster. I feel like if they're not going to do anything else for Blair Davenport down here in NXT, bring her ass to the main roster. Blair Davenport is a great talent. She really, really is. Unless y'all may want to have Blair Davenport go against Julia, because Blair Davenport is also someone who has been to Stardom as well. So maybe they want to run that route, but I want Blair Davenport to be drafted to the main roster. I feel like it's time for her. I feel like there is not anything really else they can do for her down in NXT. You know, she was doing her thing over in NXT UK, coming over to, NXT in the US and everything. It seems as if like she was up here and then she dropped down and then she, was up here again and then she dropped back down. It's like sometimes Blair Davenport gets into that forgettable stages. And I think a lot of people forget that Blair Davenport is a beast inside the ring. So I don't know, but I do feel like Blair Davenport should be a part of the draft, and I do hope that she does get drafted. I do. HBK lost 19 talents this year. Last year, how many would he lose again? I don't know. Like I feel like I feel like he's gonna lose some. I feel like some drafts for the NXT is gonna be a shocker because I feel like it's gonna be people that you really just like, they just got there. Like, no, there's no way. And it was like, I wasn't expecting that, So like they wanted to run that route. Hey, by all means, go for it. But yeah, Sol Ruka ended up getting her victory over Blair Davenport. This was a really fun, on brand for spring breaking match for Blair Davenport and Sol Ruka. So now it's like, where does Sol Ruka go from here now? Now that she's got her revenge on Blair Davenport, and where does Blair Davenport go now that the draft is coming up in hopes of maybe being drafted? I totally would not mind it at all. And then before we get to our final stop, well, not necessarily the final stop, but before we technically get into almost the final spot, before we get to our main event for the night, Trick is seen talking to his mom, who seems to be, I think, in the hospital and everything. So sending one up for her, and he told her that he's gonna go out there and fight, and he said that he needs her to fight as well. And a really, really nice moment to share for Mr. Trick Williams before Johnny Gargano came in to also, give him some advice and, a little bit of, cheering him up and, giving him a little bit of a hype or motivation heading into this match with Ilya Dragunov. So I thought this was a really, really, really nice, touching moment for Trick, which kind of sealed the deal on a lot of different things that turned out tonight for the main event. And then we end up getting to this here, Baron Corbin versus Lexis King. This match happened because Baron was supposed to be recording a promo backstage, and then Lexis King came up, and now it's kind of like Baron is kind of back to, of course, being the lone wolf, being by himself now that Braun Breaker is officially done with NXT, and they lost those tag team championships. But Lexis King and Baron put on a pretty decent match. Now, shocker is that I was not expecting Lexis King to get the victory over Baron Corbin. Now it's just like, what does this say about where the direction is going to go for Baron Corbin? Not saying that I think that Baron Corbin needed this victory. I don't think so. I feel like with Lexis King, he's still a newcomer. He's still trying to find his footing as well, being a part of NXT. So I don't feel bad that Baron Corbin lost. This was much needed for Lexis King. I'm sure that maybe this will start something between those two, because I don't think Baron's going to take lightly that he just lost to Lexis King at all whatsoever. I don't think he is, but you honestly truly just really never know about Lexis King or Baron, period, because I don't care for either one of them. But I think Baron and Lexis King are great talent inside the ring. But outside of that, it doesn't move me in any kind of way. But what did move me in some kind of way? Okay, so like I said, final stop before we get into our main event. My champion, Damian Priest, is down here. And he catches up with Dragunov, you know what I'm saying? And kind of wishes him luck and everything. And I don't know, kind of opens up a little bit of a door of what could possibly be happening in the future. Damian as champion, it looks amazing. Like I don't care what nobody has to say. He looks great with that championship. I'm assuming that black tees and gold chains was the color for the night, because Damian in his black tee and his gold chain, Pete Dunne in his black tee and gold chain, Tyler Bate in his black tee and gold chain. Like black tee and gold chains is like me and my black tee, but I don't have no gold chain on. I just feel like black tees, all black fit, gold chain. That's it for me. But yeah, Damian has definitely been doing a lot since he's won that championship. Even on last night from Monday Night Raw, he's he's not having it at all whatsoever. But yeah, so shout out to Damian Priest for being here and dragging off before he gets to um closing out NXT and possibly closing out his own legacy here in NXT before possibly going up to the main roster. So finally, here we are, the main event with Dragunov and Trick Williams. Now, for weeks, I have been on Trick Williams' ass, and it does not stop at all whatsoever. I will say that congratulations to Trick Williams on getting this victory over Dragunov. This was something that you were able to do and everything. Melo did it too, but this is about you and your moment, Trick. You did what you needed to do to save your career, because otherwise you would have not been here at all whatsoever. You would have been gone from NXT completely, and probably just be put in the draft or something. But you are now the new NXT champion, and so congratulations. Shout out to you. Let's see how well you are as a champion, and so on and so forth. It's always, outside of how I truly feel about Trick Williams, it's always nice to see one of your own who enjoys representing the culture as your champion. Not someone who pretends, but actually someone who truly enjoys representing the culture, being their representation, living through and through in their own blackness, and not having to figure out if they want to be black today and not tomorrow. So shout out to Trick Williams for being that representation for black wrestlers and being as a black champion as well too. So we are moving over into a new era for not only just the main roster for Raw and SmackDown, but for NXT as well. And started off with Trick Williams being crowned the new NXT champion. And I'm sure that there's going to maybe be a celebration for Trick next week, who honestly knows, because we really don't have. We only have one championship match happening next week, but the big championship matches happen this week. But you just really never know, because sometimes NXT know how to add matches to the card that you don't even know is supposed to be happening. But shout out to Trick Williams on becoming the new NXT championship. I will say, well deserved. So let's get into NXT's Final Testament is here, and they're ready to make a statement. So it's just a matter of time before maybe Final Testament is going to want to change that entire division upside down. I think that maybe this is official that the Final Testament has now moved down to NXT. So, ta-da! So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good show next week. But like I said, those are the only matches that were announced. So I'm very sure that there's gonna be other matches that are gonna be announced for next week too. But we just have to find out and see. Thank you so much. I try. I really do. I'm not gonna even lie. I made this. I did all of this while NXT was going on. So, and all this stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Even Scarlett won the Women's Championship. Hey, if they want if they want to be the Final Testament, they're gonna have to find a way to be able to run all of NXT. So, especially how the draft may affect Impact next NXT. I don't know. But it's really hard to say. But that's that. But thank you guys so much for coming in and hanging out with me here for NXT Spring Breaking Week 1 uncut and everything. I will teach you my ways, Stephanie. I really will. I promise you, it's really simple and it's really easy. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I really am. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for coming in to hanging out with me here for NXT Spring Breaking. I think Nikki was doing something, so it was kind of solo dolo for me tonight. She will probably be back next week for NXT Uncut Week 2 for Spring Breaking, but you'll probably see her for Impact Wrestling on Thursday as well. So we definitely got to talk about Impact on Thursday. We are behind for Rebellion, so we are moving past that. We'll also talk about Rebellion 2 as well while we talk about, the aftermath and everything. So, but yeah, thank you guys for coming in, for hanging out with me, like I always say. Shout out to Battleground Podcast for having us here in the Shakers Den. Shout out to each and every one of you for coming in too as well. And once again, definitely sending one up and love to Trey from We Love Wrestling. So like I said, it's a big shocker to find out that information and everything, but definitely sending lots of love to him, his family, his friends, everyone that has been impacted or influenced by him and everything like that. He's going to be truly missed within the wrestling community, for media and just a friend, period, mentor and all of that stuff too. So there's that. But thank you guys so much. Continue to follow us on all social media platforms at The Shakers Den, and we'll be back on Thursday for TNA Wrestling. Bye, guys.
Spring break just got hotter.